Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to dive into a story that honestly feels like it was ripped straight out of a Hollywood thriller. We're looking at the secret life of David Harmon. Now, this was a case of just absolutely meticulous deception right in a quiet Chicago neighborhood. It was literally inches away from going down in the record books as a tragic natural medical event, but as you'll see, it's crazy how one tiny, seemingly insignificant detail can unravel an entire massive conspiracy. Let's get right into it. So picture this. It's the morning of March 14th, 2019, exactly 6:47 a.m. Detective Lisa Chen arrives at a scene where a healthy 34-year-old woman named Sarah Harmon has been found dead right on her kitchen floor. Now, right off the bat, there's no forced entry, no robbery, nothing missing. The scene is completely sterile. But Detective Chen notices something that just doesn't sit right with the whole sudden tragedy narrative. Sitting there on the kitchen counter was Sarah's morning coffee mug. It was completely full, and get this, it was still warm. She hadn't taken a single sip. I mean, think about it. Why would you go through your entire morning routine of making coffee and then just never drink it? That untouched cup was the one thread Detective Chen quietly decided to pull, and boy, did things unravel. To really grasp the absolute shockwave this sent through the community, we gotta look at the facade the Harmons projected. I mean, these people were the textbook definition of the American dream. David, a highly successful doctor. Sarah was this beloved school teacher, just totally cherished by her community. And they had a beautiful 8-year-old daughter named Lily. The perfect house, the perfect life, the whole shebang. When the police showed up, David played the role of the devastated surviving husband just flawlessly. He was the one who called 911. He was crying, shaking, telling officers, "She was just lying there. I don't know what happened." And honestly, you know what? Everyone bought it. The entire community immediately rallied around this grieving husband. But here's where we hit a massive contradiction. Officially, the medical examiner signed off on the cause of death as cardiac arrest. So the story was that a perfectly healthy 34-year-old woman just randomly died of a heart attack. Case closed, right? Well, the reality was so much darker. Detective Chen just could not let go of that coffee cup. She started quietly looking into the possibility of something much more sinister: calculated poisoning, a double life, cold-blooded murder. The gap between that neat official story and the messy reality is exactly where this explainer really takes off. So Detective Chen starts poking around, quietly interviewing the people closest to Sarah. She starts with Sarah's sister, Amanda. And Amanda drops an absolutely chilling piece of context. It turns out 2 weeks before she died, Sarah had called her sister and she was terrified. She told Amanda that David had changed, and get this, she was actually planning to leave him. But the real bombshell? Sarah said she had found something on David's laptop that completely terrified her. Tragically, before she could even explain what that something was, the call ended, and she never called back. Armed with that haunting detail, Detective Chen wasted zero time and immediately secured a search warrant for David Harmon's laptop. The moment investigators opened that laptop, boom, the perfect husband facade just shattered into a million pieces. His digital footprint proved that David Harmon was actively living a total double life. He had a completely separate second identity, complete with a hidden secondary bank account that he was funneling money into. And the reason for all this secrecy? A secret, ongoing relationship with a woman named Rachel Moore. Now, this wasn't some brief fling. No. This had been going on for 3 full years in a neighboring city. David had literally promised Rachel marriage. He promised her this grand future. But obviously there was one massive 34-year-old obstacle standing in the way: his wife, Sarah. Now remember, David is a doctor. So Detective Chen starts digging into his professional access. And, well, as a physician, he had direct access to highly restricted, incredibly dangerous substances. Specifically a chemical called succinylcholine. It's an intense muscle relaxant. In high doses, it essentially paralyzes your respiratory system and just completely stops the heart. But here is the most terrifying part about this drug, and why it's basically a killer's dream weapon. It is virtually untraceable. It metabolizes and vanishes from the human body within just hours. Standard autopsies simply do not detect it. That is exactly why Sarah's death was originally ruled a natural cardiac arrest. David knew exactly how to induce a fatal heart attack without leaving a single chemical fingerprint behind. It was basically a high-stakes medical cat-and-mouse game. Because the succinylcholine vanished from her bloodstream just hours after her death, the initial autopsy missed it completely, ruled natural, just like he planned. But Detective Chen's gut feeling about that untouched coffee cup completely changed the trajectory of the forensic investigation. She refused to accept that natural causes ruling. So she makes this brilliant, super unconventional move. She orders a highly specific second autopsy. She tells the lab, look past the standard panels, test for absolutely everything. And 72 hours later, the results come in. By testing deep tissue samples instead of just the bloodstream, they actually found lingering traces of succinylcholine. Boom. Definitive proof. Sarah Harmon was murdered. Okay, so with the hard scientific proof finally in hand, the trap was officially set. Detective Chen brings David Harmon into the interrogation room, and he walks in so confident, calm, smiling even. He sits down, folds his hands neatly on the table, and smugly tells her he's already answered all of her questions. Then, Chen executes just a perfectly structured takedown. Step 1, she silently slides that second autopsy report across the table. Immediately, the confident smile drops. Step 2, she lays out the hidden bank records. Step 3, she slides over a photo of his secret lover, Rachel Moore. You guys, the color literally drained from David's face. The silence in that room was absolutely deafening. Now, you think, facing an absolute mountain of undeniable evidence, he'd panic, right? Maybe beg for forgiveness? Nope, he did something that chilled every single person in that precinct to the bone. He laughed. Just a quiet, cold little laugh. He looks right at Detective Chen and says, "You have no idea how long I planned this." I mean, wow. It was a stunning admission of cold-blooded, premeditated murder. But as shocking as that was, David wasn't done talking. When Chen pushed him to explain, the story he unspooled revealed that he didn't build this nightmare alone. He had an accomplice. And this brings us to the twist that literally broke the internet when this trial finally went public. Rachel Moore? She wasn't just David's secret girlfriend. She was a chemist. She was the one who procured the succinylcholine, mathematically calculated the exact lethal dose, and coached David on how to administer it flawlessly. But wait, it gets so much worse. The ultimate betrayal? Rachel Moore was Sarah's college roommate. They had been best friends for 15 years. Sarah trusted her completely. Rachel actually had the sheer audacity to sit in the front row at Sarah's funeral. She hugged Sarah's sister Amanda, she held 8-year-old Lily's hand, and cried fake tears, knowing exactly what she had just orchestrated. Just let that sink in. So this wasn't some crime of passion. It was a clinical, calculated business transaction. Think about the steps here. Step 1, Rachel uses her credentials to get the chemical. Step 2, she uses her expertise as a chemist to calculate a dose high enough to kill, but optimized to vanish incredibly fast. Step 3, David uses his medical background to administer it without a trace, perfectly utilizing the normal chaos of a busy morning routine. And finally, Step 4, the endgame. Collect the life insurance payout and permanently flee the country together. It was a perfectly balanced dual-effort conspiracy between a doctor and a chemist. So you might be wondering, what was the actual price tag on a wife and a best friend's life? $4.2 million. That was the value of the life insurance policy David had taken out on Sarah. This massive payout was literally the sole motive for this incredibly elaborate, totally heartless crime. David and Rachel had it all mapped out to split the millions and start a brand new life together in a foreign country. In fact, by the time the police finally moved in to arrest them, the couple already had their international flights booked for the very next week. They were literally days away from walking off with millions. Well, obviously, they never made it to the airport. Once the evidence was laid out, the justice system moved really quickly, but the aftermath is just a landscape of ruined lives. David Harmon, sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. His partner in crime, Rachel Moore, got a 35-year sentence. But the true heartbreak here, the real collateral damage, is little 8-year-old Lily. She was sent to live with her Aunt Amanda, and to this day, she is still shielded from the full, horrifying truth of what her father and her mother's best friend actually did. So yes, justice was absolutely served, but that family is forever fractured. We're going to wrap up this explainer today with a pretty powerful reflection from Detective Lisa Chen, who, by the way, received a massive commendation for her brilliant investigative work here. She noted that the most dangerous killers hide in plain sight, right behind our ultimate trust, because, and I quote, "nobody looks twice." It really makes you think, doesn't it? If a husband and a best friend of 15 years can orchestrate something this dark, who really knows the people around them? A perfect murder, millions of dollars, and a clean international escape. All of it thwarted by one single out-of-place detail. So, what does this all mean for us? It makes you wonder, What else might we miss if we don't look closely at the untouched coffee cups in our own lives? Thanks for joining me today, and definitely keep your eyes open.